Hey guys, how's it going? Most of you who follow me on this channel know that I am a photographer and videographer. My name is Luke Shaler and I am based out here in United Arab Emirates in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. This video, it might be longer than expected. I was going to try and do a 1-minute short video, but I think for today, I really just want to talk about some of the lenses that I use to achieve the images that you see me posting on here. I know not everybody who follows me is a photographer on here, but I just really feel inspired, mostly from my brother, who is an artist. I'll post his name up here somewhere. His name is Roy Rand. He's an amazing artist, and lately he has been posting tutorials and how-to videos, and I felt really inspired to join with being creative and just showing you like my whole creative process. So right now I am shooting on a Canon EOS R mirrorless camera, which means there is no mirror in it, which is hence the DSLR meaning. And it's a great camera. I've had it for about 4 years. I've really put it through the ringer through sand, mud, rain, humidity, you name it. This camera is amazing. I've never had an issue besides shooting in the rain, which I've had to get it fixed, but that's no problem here. And right now, to record this video that I'm doing right now, I'm using a Canon 24 to 105 millimeter lens. It's an f4, still a prime lens, which means that it's high end. But the nice thing is it's very versatile. I use it on a lot of my video shoots. Like a lot of the videos you've seen me post recently from my trips that my wife and I have been on has been with this lens right here. It's really easy because I don't need to, when I'm on the go, I don't need to switch focal lengths, which I'm going to talk about here soon. I have all my lenses all right here. I love this lens a lot. Eventually I'll switch out one of these lenses and I'll show you this lens. It's a great lens. It's very, like I said, versatile in terms of shooting. I can shoot in a very tight space, or I can do a really nice landscape shot. So to start with, for this camera, since it's kind of, when it came out, it was kind of in a weird period between switching from Canon's lens mounts. So I have this EF to RF adapter, if any of you are interested. It enables me to use all my lenses from my old camera and any other camera, which is great. It's a great investment. It's about, I don't know, maybe $100-ish. So to start off with, most of my photos that you have probably seen on my Instagram have been shot with this lens right here. This is, let's see if the camera will focus on it. It's a Sigma 35 millimeter f1.4. In the photography world, this lens reigns king. It's just too good. This lens has probably seen the most amount of action besides my 24 to 105 that I have on here right now. Really nice thing with this lens is the aperture, f1.4, which means that it enables to let a lot of light in. So f1.4 meaning I can shoot in the dark as long as I have light. Like if I'm not using a flash, like I can achieve amazing images with this. Very crisp, very clear, and you get that really awesome effect, the blurred background, which is called bokeh. And this lens achieves it, and it just makes everything look so good. But the problem is when a lens is just too good, it just never seems to come off my camera. So lately I've been trying to steer away from that and just try new things, try new creative processes. It's a great lens. I love it. I've had it since I think January 2019, and it really hasn't let me down, which is amazing. It's nice and heavy. And also a thing with prime lenses is it's a fixed focal length. So at 35 millimeters, that's all you get. You either have to get close to your subject or you have to move away if you want to achieve the shot. Some of you are probably familiar with it. It's the Canon 70 to 200 millimeter telephoto lens. It's version 3, so it's the last version of the EF mount before they made the RF version for my camera, which eventually I want to get. This lens is amazing for portraits, sports, and automotive photography, which, as you guys know, is my favorite. What's really great about this lens is it has stabilization modes 1 and 2, which basically 1 is stationary, 2 is for moving objects, and also just the shallow depth of field that you can create when you get really close to a subject at 200 millimeters, or like portraits for people's faces. This lens is amazing. Yes, it is heavy, but it's just an amazing lens. Again, This lens is at f2.8, so it lets in a lot of light, and it's just a beast of a lens. You know, every now and then I will use the lens hood if there's like sun glare and stuff. And one nice thing about lens hoods though, in case you hit stuff or you drop it on something, you're not going to damage it. So this is another one of my favorite lenses. I don't use it all the time, but this lens it's amazing. My next one is, I kind of regretted buying it at first because I didn't realize it was going to be like a literal fisheye lens, but that's what it is. It's an 8 to 15 millimeter fisheye lens. I'm trying to look at the camera here while watching the screen right there. This lens, you know, for client work, it can work, but maybe like real estate, because at 8 millimeters, it's basically, it's a 360 degree view. And at 15 millimeters, you know, it's a pretty nice like wide shot that there's no warping in the image. This lens I mostly use for landscape photography and like travel photography. It's great and everything. I just wish I got the 11 to 15 millimeter lens, but you know, I'm still gonna keep it in my arsenal. It's small, which is nice. It's a little bit heavy, but size comparison to a lot of these other ones, with what it delivers, it's still really good. I need to get it fixed. When I was in the Seychelles, it fell on a rock and made a nice chip right there. But just like when you think of glasses, when you put it right up to your eye, you're not going to see that scratch. So you won't see this in images, but it's just annoying and I need to get it fixed. But again though, nice quality for something that you can just drop in, well, it still works. The Canon Nifty 50, which is the 50 millimeter lens, fixed at f1.8, which is great. This is a great starter lens if you are just getting into photography. It's super cheap. They're right around $75 US to $100 US. You might even be able to get it cheaper. Creates great bokeh. It's super fast. It just looks really good to the eyes. Like 50 millimeters, like 35 millimeters, it's great and everything, but 50 millimeters looks really nice. This one in particular, it's an older EF version, which I'm not a super fan of because sometimes when I take photos with it, I kind of get warping. So I want to get the RF version that's made for my camera, but still, this is a great lens. Any camera brand, Sony, Nikon, Panasonic, they sell their own. But yeah, this is all around very, very popular lens. Now onto another brand of lenses that I'm very excited to talk about. I don't have them all with me here, but my dad used to be a photographer. He honestly probably could have went professional with it, but he went a different route. So here I have these Olympus Zuiko lenses, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name of these. If anybody knows how to properly pronounce it, I'm sure I could look it up on Google. But these are all manual lenses, which means when you have it on your camera and you're trying to focus, there's no autofocus on these, kind of like driving a manual car. You have to manually focus the shot. Now this lens is really special. It's a 50 millimeter lens, but it's also a macro lens. So macro means you can get super close, like very, 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 very close, like seeing the hairs on your hands close. And I really like this lens a lot because with the manual lenses, it makes you slow down and take your time with the shot because you just want to make sure that you get it correctly. But the nice thing is on my camera, when I use these lenses, it highlights everything in the field that's in focus, which is really awesome, which makes using these even better. And to be honest with you, sometimes the clarity that comes out of these is better than modern day stuff. Now, using equipment is all subjective when it comes to the photographer. You know, you could have all the best equipment in the world. If you don't know how to use it, your images, they're gonna be crap. But if you know how to use the gear and the editing software, you can create amazing images. I'll try not to get off topic here, but I really like this lens a lot. Every now and then I'll use it for clientele work, but this lens takes a little bit more patience. So it's mostly used for my personal projects or if I'm just out on the go going somewhere. The next one is this 28mm f3.5. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, this is f2, so still lets in a lot of light. It's another Olympus lens. I really like this a lot. It's fixed at 28 millimeters, so it's, you know, it's not super wide, but it's wide enough to where, you know, you can use it in a lot of different areas. What I really like about this old glass is you get these interesting like lens flares that come in to the image, and with using these old lenses, you just kind of get a little bit of like nostalgic, like film look. Like, yes, of course I can add grain in the photos, but there's like an interesting realness behind using old lenses. And the nice thing is with just how photography is, like film photography is coming back, which is amazing. Like I've been shooting film since probably 2014, 2015. I don't share the images too much on here because it's physical media. You know, you can scan it and post it and all that stuff. But what's nice is, you know, these things, they're not being forgotten, which is amazing. My last one that I'm going to talk about, there's a bunch of other gear I want to talk about. So this next one, it's a little bit cheaper. It's still an Olympus lens. It's an f1.4. Lens probably lets in, if not the same amount of light as my Sigma. This lens is really nice, low light, and it just has an old film look like I was talking about. The only thing though with this lens that I've noticed is you can't really zoom in a lot. It seems to degrade the quality of the image, and I don't know if that's just the build of this lens compared to the other ones, but certain lenses, you know, they have certain limits, but I still really like this lens. You can get a really shallow depth of field, and it just looks very artsy or nostalgic, you know, like film grain look, you know, that people try and go for. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was gonna make it a reel, but I'm too passionate about this stuff, and I just wanna show you guys like where most of my images come from that I post on here. But let me actually switch the lens real quick so I can talk about the one that I'm using right now. Okay. So now I have changed my lens. This is the Sigma 35mm f1.4. Obviously I'm not shooting at f1.4 because I have still lots of light in here, and I am shooting in log, which I think I would like to explain in another video. So here is the Canon 24 to 105mm lens. This lens comes with the Canon EOS R if you buy it, or maybe an R6, or the R8 and R7. There's a bunch of other models. They may not be an L series lens, which is this red band that you see here. Same with on this lens right here. But what I mean by zoom lens is you can take it, and that's 105mm, and this is 24. If you guys watch my previous video, I used, actually that's really good that I brought that up. This video's been longer than expected, but I started with this lens right here, super wide at 8mm, moved to 15, which is where this lens ends. Then I went from 24mm to 70 on this lens, and then I ended up finishing it with the 70 to 200 because I wanted that bokeh in the background, and plus I just wanted to use a different lens. It has a stabilizer on it, which is great because my camera doesn't have IBIS, which is basically image stabilization in the body of the camera. So when I'm shooting handheld, this lens kind of takes care of some of the shakes. But again, like I said, it's a great zoom lens. It's very compact, very light. One nice thing about this RF lens is it's very fast compared to all the other ones. Like, I love all the other lenses, but this lens is probably one of my fastest ones. Like, of course, if you are shooting manual, you can just hold the trigger and the images go, 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 but they may not all be in focus. This one, very fast. It's very light, and probably more weatherproof than the other ones. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I want to do more of these. Just, I don't know, feeling inspired. I want to talk to my audience. Yes, I do have a YouTube channel. I can talk more about that later. I've been trying to push more content on there as well, on kind of on a lot of my different platforms, just like whatever I'm feeling like. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything that you would like to know or learn, post them below. I'm more than happy to make a video about it, explaining it to everybody. All right, guys, take care.